Hi everyone, I am Dr. Paneeraj Murthy, organizing committee member of Logistics Shakti and Summit and Award 2026, and also associated with Tarkivi Cargo as a COO. Having earned 35 years of experience in this road transportation and the warehousing industry, today it gives me an immense pleasure to introduce Mr. Aditya Vikram Kapoor. So he's an
Thank you.
eminent person who has spent around nearly about 2 decades in the courier industry. So worked with an MNCs and Indian MNCs also. So
Yeah.
company, and he's demonstrated his capabilities across the nations and even to the international operations. So let's talk about him, his experience, what is his takeaway of this Logistics Shakti and Summit and Awards. Aditya ji, welcome to the podcast of Logistics Shakti Summit and Award 2026.
Thank you, Dr. Murthy.
बहुत खुशी हुई है आपके बारे में हमें जानकारी मिले थे आपने इंटरनेशनल लेवल में बहुत सारे काम किया है तो ये जानना है we want to understand so what is your takeaway from this Logistics Shakti Summit and Award 2026.
Dr. Murthy, first of all, thank you so much to you and Logistics Shakti for organizing a fantastic event like this. This is my second event with Logistics Shakti. I was honored to be a part of it, with an event which happened in Dubai. And there is one common ethos which I noticed, which was there in Dubai और यहाँ भी है. And बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैं प्रकट करूंगा लॉजिस्टिक्स शक्ति की टीम का कि उन्होंने एक कॉमन ईथॉस मेंटेन किया है कि एक सर्विस प्रोवाइडर और एक सर्विस कंज्यूमर को एक कॉमन प्लेटफॉर्म पे लाके ये रियलाइजेशन पे लेके आना दैट यू आर नो मोर प्रोवाइडर्स एंड रिसीवर्स, यू आर एक्चुअली पार्टनर्स. एंड दैट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट aspect of the evolution of the industry that we are a part of. See, global supply chain, be it within India, be it across the world, has been evolving at a very fast pace, especially post-pandemic. And the way we would need to connect, understand, and evolve both from a network standpoint, so which is the supply side of it, and from the demand side of it, such platforms make it very easier for us to do that. And I think no one better than stalwarts like Amit and Kamal who run Logistics Shakti with the rigor that they have been doing for all these years. And I'm thankful to the team for being able to do that. And when they recognize organizations like us who have the capability to bring in that intellect and that intelligence to be able to contribute to these events, I am very thankful.
Good, Aditya ji. बहुत अच्छा लगा आपने एक बात बोला. So I can quote it in this way. LSP, normally we said that, logistics service provider. So this Logistics Shakti, this is a platform. It brings every stakeholder under one umbrella and to, demonstrate the required knowledge and the new technologies, what is coming into the system, which is future of the industry. So this can be changed, the LSP name, the logistics service provider, to a logistics service partner. And also, unless until you consider your logistics service provider as your partner of your business, and I'm sure that no one will be able to grow in this in this business model. Actually, it's really good. Coming to the courier industry, so now coming to the geopolitics which is happening in the war across the world, Israel, Iran war, or America, Iran, or Lebanon, and all that. So how does your international business is got affected, and how you have been your organization which working in international events, how you have been cope up with this kind of another scenario?
See, first, I think we should never come to a scenario where situations like these arrive at a global level. And I think as a country which has always been resilient, been pro taking a stance that let's talk it out. I think that's the first principle that we should follow as global democracies. From a logistics standpoint, did the network get impacted on a global scale? Yes, of course it did, right? Because when two countries get into wars, it does not just impact those two nations, but it's a impact that spreads across, right? So yes, there was an impact, but like I said, we are a nation which is resilient, and when a nation becomes resilient, the citizens become resilient too. And I think as organizations in our country who are understanding that, they have also showcased the same, wherein they started realizing that, okay, as supply chains become impacted, as supply chains become uh, difficult to manage, it is also pertinent to realize that our logistics service partners, and I'll pick that up from you, Dr.
Good one.
Murthy,
Good one.
also need to be handholded and not just looked at from a cost center standpoint. And when I say handholded, I am not looking at them doing our job, right? That's not what we expect them to do. But what they understood is that yes, when such scenarios come up, there will be cost pressures, there will be TAT pressures, there will be multiple such aspects. And they started coming back to us that, hey, we understand that. But then can you also tell us that what can we do more? How can you help us optimize and enhance what we already do? And that's where, as an organization, DTDC has always been uh, with that outlook that we want to build with the nation. And because of that, wherever we go, whether it be in the US, whether it be in the UK, whether it be in Australia, whether it be in Canada, Dubai, and all the other countries where we have our own offices and colleagues, on the last 20-25 years that we've been doing international business, there's a lot of intelligence that we've also built apart from providing the logistics or supply chain solutions that we offer to our customers. So we brought that back to the table to our customers. That, hey, while yes, a certain market is impacted, a certain demand might get impacted, you might see that hit coming your way. But at the same time, you will notice that there is another market that you might not have focused on all this while, right? And which became a very interesting point of a conversation that we started having with our customers, because at that point in time, we moved out from being that cost center to being that one organization who also talks about, hey, how can I help you create more demand, right? And then that conversation completely takes a different direction. And then when they saw that as an organization we have that capability to bring that intelligence to the table, they started having conversations on that front. And today I'm very happy to say that a lot of the customers who at a certain point in time, be it during the war scenario or be it the tariff era, which started out, uh, they were ignorant of certain markets and they've realized that now. And they're very happy, and they are now our brand ambassadors, if I were to call them that, that they go out to their counterparts and say that, hey, DTDC made me realize it. And they are very vocal about it. And the reason they are vocal about it is because we just did not bring that opportunity to the table, but we also brought in a solution.
Good. Good.
So that's how I think we've evolved. And this evolution will always be there, because the world and the era that we are living in, I mean, whatever is happening with AI, whatever is happening from a macro standpoint, such situations, I mean, we saw it all started out from pandemic, and today we are here. And I don't know what holds what's there in the future for us. So yeah.
I agree with you. If you ask me, the way back around 30, 35 years back, when this courier industries popped up, DTDC is one of the company where this popped up by Subhashji. I grown up by seeing the growth of the DTDC, even though I've not been part of the DTDC, but still I've seen the growth of the DTDC in the courier industry. So it's always been a innovative, kind of in the courier industry. Bar it is pickup modules, bar it's in delivery modules, kind of. We come across being another competitors, kind of. So how does DTDC is geared up to handle the upcoming AI? So in our logistics industry, in the courier industry, if you say that the delivery is my product, so the AI may not be able to do the delivery. So that is the human intervention is required. So barring on this activities, pickup and the delivery, that's called the PUD operations. So where and all you have been, trying to adopt that, AI options?
Dr. Murthy, that's a very fantastic question, and I'll answer that with a quote. So somewhere I read, and that's a principle that I follow, that only the paranoid survive. When I say that, what I mean by that is, even in the most successful scenario, if there is not a little bit of paranoia, I will start becoming a little complacent and I will not start evolving. And as an organization, we don't believe in that. And we are always in that state that we need to become better at what we do. coming back to what you've asked, and I'll try to answer that in a manner that is very appealing to the audience who's watching our podcast today. See, as an organization, we are a very phygital organization. We are present across the country. We have more than 15,000 plus customer access points wherein a customer can walk in and give us a shipment. And what you rightly said, that this is a very human dependent network, because an AI will never, at least now, they don't handle the shipments. But yes, there are certain areas where they do become very important. I'll give you an example. So we've developed an in-house generative AI that we call Diva, right? What Diva is capable of doing today is that it is capable of giving you the insight of where your shipment is. When I talk about from an international perspective, what are the typical HS codes that you would need or you would need to declare when you think of a simple commodity? What would be the kind of estimated tariff that would come in on your commodity when you're sending it to countries like maybe a Europe or a US or similar other destinations wherein beyond a certain de minimis, there is a tariff that would be implemented. We are using AI to even answer customer queries. As we speak today, 83% of our customers' queries are being answered by Diva. Does that mean that we don't want to invest in having people who can also talk to people, to customers? No, that does not stop. But at the same time, if the customer gets their query answered, if the customer who's wanting to book a shipment also gets that clarity from the AI assistant, that is time saved, action in a quick manner, and that helps. So as of now, I believe, yes, AI is important and we are investing heavily on it and we are already there. But at the same time, there is a concept of a physical human capital, which will always be very pertinent in our industry. And for now, it is going to be there. And we firmly believe that in a nation like us, which is very densely populated, we can't ignore that. And as an organization which is pro-Bharat, we wouldn't want to ignore it. And the phygital era is always going to be the relevant era for us.
Thank you, Aditya ji, for your
Thank you, Dr.
wonderful
Murthy.
insight, and wish you all the best. So for you and your organizations,
Thank you.
do well, be in touch.
Absolutely.
Thank you.